Broadcasting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, you're listening to The Low Blow on swfight.com.
Jorge Hernandez with the Low Blow and Southwest Fight News here with 135-pounder Anthony Birchak.
What's going on?
What brings you to Albuquerque?
Getting ready for UFC on Fox 13. They're coming to Arizona finally for the first time ever. I think since the WEC days. So I'm blessed to be on it and be making my UFC debut at home.
You were supposed to make your debut a couple of months ago. Unfortunately, that fell through because your challenger was, then chosen to go up to fight for the, the championship at 135. How disappointing one was that, and how, I guess, gratifying? You were going to get the fight either way, but how
it was
fortunate you feel?
It was like such a confusing situation because I show up and I see this tweet that said, first Henry Cejudo. Now Renan Barao, I nominate Anthony Birchak to come in as the, from the MFC bantamweight champion. And I was like, what is this? And as soon as I look down, Sean Shelby starts calling me, and I'm like, oh crap. So he's like, hey stud, got some news for you. As soon as you come down here, find me. So I come down, and he's like, hey, Renan Barao feigned to come out as a Santos foreman. And I'm like waiting for him to bait. So you're the next guy, and he's like, so we're pulling Joe Soto up, and I was like. Instantly, I was like, I would have taken that fight in half a heartbeat. Why didn't you guys choose me? And, what basically it broke down to was Porterville, California being closer in proximity to Sacramento, where Joe Soto's from. So who's going to sell seats? A kid from Tucson from, 12 hours away, or a kid from, an hour away? And I literally lost a popularity contest and could have very possibly fought for the Bantamweight World Championship as my debut.
Now, December 13th, you have a brand new opponent. What do you know about him?
Ian Entwistle. He's a tough Englishman. He's coming from Yorkshire, England. The kid talks a lot of shit. He's already started at me on Twitter. He was very hyper-aggressive, as soon as we both heard about the matchup. He's saying, Birchak's tiny. I've seen more meat on a butcher's knife. And I'm just like, this guy's already started and we're like 12 weeks out, you know what I mean? So I know he's got a really good heel hook game. I won't say that he's a jiu-jitsu fighter. I would say that he has strictly heel hooks because he's not a Marcin Held, he's not a Husamar Polaris. He doesn't transition from submission to submission to submission. He's just hell-bent on ripping your heel off, and it's kind of angering training for a guy like that because it's dangerous to train for heel hooks, you know what I mean? You put your knees in all kinds of dangerous positions, and I think our skill sets are very far apart.
Yeah, now you're here at Jackson's MMA. It's usually, the guys work their way up through this gym to get to the UFC, and other guys are established, and then they come here. You're kind of in the middle where, you've made it to the UFC, but despite not training at this gym, all of a sudden, first UFC fight and you're training here. What led to that?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we've always crossed paths in Jackson's, right? I was fighting out of Apex Mixed Martial Arts for a while, and me and Freddie Lux came out here and we beat a couple of big names. We got the attention of Coach Jackson and Coach Lethal John. And this was something me and Freddie always talked about, cleaning the house here so that we can come and train here. And, Fred's passed, and now I'm training for both of us, and I'm living the dream for us both.
And we kind of talked about that earlier, of how you are carrying that torch for both of you guys, especially because you mentioned, his child is your godson also.
Yes.
So is there any pressure, or is it more of an honor to be able to do that?
Absolutely no pressure, you know what I mean? He would not want me. He'd be like, oh, down, you know what I mean? So it's an honor to be Freddie Lux's, choice as a godfather to his son. Being able to see Miles grow up, and with my son, they're a year apart, so it's like I get to see these little guys rolling around in the gym, and it's like I see so much of me and my son, so much of Fred, and it's like, dude, it's mind blowing. So, going into this fight, it's an unfair fight for Ian because he's going to be fighting two dudes that night.
How much have you learned or gained from experience here?
Dude, I just had one of the most amazing striking classes with Coach Sutton Gibson right now, and it's just these creative ways to strike, these creative ways to attack your opponent is something that I'm all about. I've always needed a coach to tell me, do it this way, do this, do that. I'm from that wrestling mindset of texting me, hey, where are you at? You're not at practice. You know what I mean? In this sport, you're kind of accountable for yourself, but I think there's still coaches in this industry that will push you like that, and I think that's what I found here at Jackson. Like I said, the class I just took was nothing like I can get anywhere else.
What does it mean to you to be fighting in southern Arizona, where you're from?
Dude, it's been since 2011 since I fought home, and I'm gonna bring fireworks. So having my 89-year-old grandparents there, that was my grandpa's dream. Like when I first started this, he thought I was stupid. Ya eres pendejo, cabrón. Why are you fighting? You have kids. You think about the brain damage. I don't think about any of that. You know what I mean? Now he switched his tune to make sure you hit him in the shoulders right here. Make sure you. And I'm like, okay, so he likes it. You know what I mean? And it means the world to me that he's going to be able to see me step into the octagon for the first time.
Yeah. Now, as far as social media, when can people reach you? Just because you're one of these up-and-coming guys, but with a pretty damn good record, people are going to know you.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Birchak MMA, on Instagram at Birchak MMA. My Facebook fan page is facebook.com/Anthony Birchak, and then of course on Score at Anthony Birchak.
December 13th. Make sure you guys check out this guy's UFC debut. We'll see you guys.